Okay, welcome to our final installment of our Mystery Block of the Week. If you've been working along, you've had a fast and furious summer trying to put these blocks together, so now we're ready to finish the quilt. You have a 12.5-inch block for the center, and you will be cutting 2-inch strips to put a 1.5-inch finished border around. I would go ahead and measure your block and make sure it measures 12.5. If it doesn't, go ahead and cut 2 pieces for your sides that are whatever your block measures. Sew those on, press your seam allowance towards the border, measure it again, and then go ahead and cut the other 2 sides exactly the same way. The triangles to set the center on point are oversized just a little bit, so if you go ahead and cut those in half. I would sew 2 opposite sides, press towards the triangles, then sew the other 2 opposite sides and press towards the triangles. Now the directions you have are telling you to cut a 3.5-inch border for this first set that goes on next to your pinwheel border. I got to looking at that after I got my center put together, laid this out, thought this was too overpowering to have a dark strip 3 inches wide finished in between. So I decided to put an accent in here, and the accent yardage I gave you is adequate to do that. I went ahead and cut 1.5-inch strips here, 2.5-inch strips here. And I think you can go ahead and use the dimensions that were given on your pattern. Then you are sewing side borders together, alternating plain blocks and pinwheels. Those side borders start and stop with a plain block. You'll sew those on, and then your top and bottom start and stop with pinwheel blocks. And I oopsed on your next instructions for the next border. Not sure exactly what I did. I think I forgot to divide them in 2, but you don't need 5 inches worth of border to go in between to get these borders to fit. You really only need about 2 3/4. So I cut this one, this accent border, 1.25 inches, and I cut this one again 2.5 inches, and I did not put an accent on the other side, which is what your original instructions call for. I think this works just fine, probably looks a little bit better. Then you're going to be doing your placing your sampler blocks on point on your borders, and let's pause for a minute so we can take that up close and let you see how those borders get sewn together. Okay, so we are needing to set the sampler blocks on point, and we need to have side setting triangles and corner triangles. Your side setting triangles will be the ones that are from the squares that you are cutting an X on. That puts the long side of the triangle on straight of grain. You don't want any bias to the outside edge. And then the ones that are cut in half are going to be the corners of your border. There's no set-in seam on this. These are all done in diagonal rows. So your first row is actually going to be a corner triangle with a block and a corner triangle. So look at it this way. This is a row. Your next row will have a side setting triangle, a block, and a side setting triangle. And again, your row is right here, from there to there. Once you get your rows sewn, you're then sewing them together this way, and you are matching where your triangle and your block meet, triangle and block meet. So you're matching here. You will have a 1/4 inch extending past down here and at this end as well, and that's what you want to have. What you may find is that you end up having a little bit more than a 1/4 inch from here to the outside edge, and you might want to trim that a little bit. Best way I can tell you to find that out is to actually just take your ruler, put your 1/4 inch mark. These guys here seem to be fine. As I move down, I actually have a little bit more there. This one is fine. So I might want to go ahead and line up my 1/4 here, line up my 1/4 here, and trim this down just a little bit so that when I sew this seam, I'm hitting my points here with the quilt itself. So you'll do your 2 sides. Those will have 3 blocks with corners here, and your top and bottom will have 5. Then after you get done with those, you'll be putting another set of borders to the outside of the quilt. I'm figuring on my quilt, I'm going to have that orange again at a 2-inch finish, cutting 2.5, and my outer border will be cut at 5.5, finishing at 5, and it will be the black again. And we'll show you, unveil what the whole thing looks like in just a minute.